All right. Well, welcome.
Another episode of the
Welcome
podcast.
back to the We Talk Words podcast.
You literally said so much stuff wrong there.
Do dot dot dot. We talk words so good.
You said podcast and you said we talk words.
I did accidentally say podcast, but I wasn't.
Okay, I guess I just cut out when you said we talk words. Good, because I heard we talk words.
Well, welcome back. I am Amanaman, or Eden from Eden's Figure Collection.
And I am Jaquil, or David from Character Figures.
And yeah, let's get into this podcast episode.
This is just sort of our podcast where we talk about a whole bunch of different stuff, mostly figure related, or we've done some stuff about Star Wars before, and some other just random junk.
I don't even remember
So-
what happened in the Star Wars episode. Or no, I'm
Yes,
thinking.
we do.
I'm thinking of the vintage Star Wars episode, not the original.
We do a vintage Star Wars episode.
We did yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, today we have today we're gonna answer some questions that may or may not have been partially written by ChatGPT. But they're good questions. So we just kind of wanted to answer some questions. I know you have it written down, so you can.
What toys got you into collecting?
You can go first.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, in preschool, of course we went to preschool together, but one kid had these like 90s and to modern just Star Wars figures, and I thought they were really cool. So I think a few weeks or maybe a couple months afterward, I made my parents take me to the store, and I got some Force Awakens figures. Ever since that, I kind of was collecting Star Wars figures. But what really got me into like more of the collecting side of it and not just wanting to have them was probably you, Jaquil, uh, collecting the vintage Star Wars figures.
Right.
And then the rest is history.
So yeah. So what do you think really got? So I was gonna ask, but you sort of already answered it. Like, what really got you into collecting the vintage part of the collecting?
Yeah.
But that was also kind of me, I guess.
Once I got some vintage Star Wars figures, it just
There's no going back.
Motu and just on and
I
on.
also kind of got you into Motu. I mean, you got some Origins figures, but you hadn't really collect. I remember before you knew anything about Motu, it was just yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I always had figures that my dad had given to me. Like for as long as I've known, I've had so many vintage Motu figures. And as you said, we went to preschool together, and in preschool, I already had 2 vintage Star Wars figures.
Yeah. Walrus Man.
Which was Droopy and Walrus Man.
I forgot you had Droopy too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I had Droopy. And I really liked those. And just forever, I have just liked figures a lot.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say, got me really into collecting is just going to Dr. Tongue's and getting stuff there. Because for also as long as I've known, I've gotten stuff from Dr. Tongue's. My dad has always taken me for like my birthday. Almost said Christmas there. No, for my birthday, and just letting me go on like a little bit of a shopping spree that he pays for at Dr. Tongue's. So yeah, it's really what got me into it.
Yeah. What's the rarest or most unique toy in your collection, and how did you come across it?
I guess I'll answer this one first. The rarest or most unique? I'm gonna say rare. I'm just gonna answer the rarest. I don't really know, but most unique.
Yeah, I got
Um,
on this one.
but for my rarest, I might. I mean, the obvious answer is Amanaman.
Yeah,
Um, but I also have
or
that Mamado.
yeah, and you got things like you have the Inhumanoids tendril. That one's pretty.
That one's not that rare though. It's just expensive because it's big.
Well, a man then wouldn't be that rare. Like, there's tons of vintage man out there. He's
So
just
he's rare. He's rare because he's last 17. Compared to, sure he's not that rare, but compared to the rest of Star Wars of the Star Wars line, he's rare.
yeah,
So I guess I'll say Amanaman.
yeah. For me,
And for rarest and most unique, I definitely say Mamado because
yeah, for me, I mean, now collecting like the Galaxy Warriors and like the Galaxy Hole, there's probably some of those that are pretty rare. I mean, I could say these Mexican bootlegs that are pretty rare, but I mean,
yeah, I'm not
but
the one that
if,
I have a stock pack.
but if there's like Galaxy Warriors collectors in Mexico, they probably get those all the time. So
Yeah,
what
exactly.
I would actually
Like
say is I recently got the Galaxy Warriors Raw, which is a very, very rare figure. And I got it for a really great price too. Like $60.
oh nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say my saw hack or that Mexican bootleg saw hack.
Yeah,
So
but if you in the perspective of like living in Mexico, probably not worth
yeah.
it. Yeah. Any tips for new collectors?
Well, let's just alternate going first. So I went first. You first. I went first next. So you do your turn.
Ooh. I'd say probably focus on one line at a time or one set a goal for yourself. Don't go like, oh, I want to collect this line and this line and this line because it makes it very hard to build a collection. Just focus on one line or one thing and go for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with that. Focus on a line, but also focus on like obviously get stuff that you want to get that you think is cool.
So
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That you should focus on one line for sure. Just because, but uh, go like don't just get stuff that everybody starts with. So just because of that, like obviously I start with Star Wars because I like those figures. Motu as well. Like those are a bit probably like the big two. Motu, GI Joe, Star Wars. Those are probably like the big ones that you like that like a lot of people start with, like the most people.
mhm.
Um, because a lot of people had them as a kid. Um, but don't just get
Sense
those
did.
just because. Don't just get those because everybody else does. Get stuff that you want to get because you want to get it. But I definitely agree. Start with one line. Like obviously now I already have so many figures that I get a range of different toys and lines. But at the start, but there was a period where I would just only get Star Wars. So and only get like Galaxy Hole. So I definitely agree with that.
Yep. Uh, what's your experience with the toy collecting community?
Uh, really good. So yeah, that's another thing. Like if you want to get into collecting, everybody's super nice. Like asking people on YouTube and Instagram about like tips for trying to grow my channel or make better videos. There's one guy's been really nice. And on Instagram, like asking people about lines and stuff. Everybody's just super nice. Like I know from experience, people asking me, I just like answer. Like I'm never. I like everybody's just so nice.
Yeah.
And at toy shows as well, everybody's also really nice, and you can get some great deals. Like on stuff, and people. I don't know, just like a really great community because it's everybody's like just really nice. I think.
Yeah, I think definitely everyone's really nice about stuff. And I
I've
mean,
never met like a mean collector that's like, oh, you kids always getting stuff. Like I've never ran into anybody that was mean and also was a
yeah,
collector.
yeah, I mean, if you're a toy collector, you're not gonna not want to talk about toys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's sort of a thinking about it now, like it's kind of a common trait for people that collect toys to people that like talk a lot.
Mm.
Apparently, yeah, like even noticing it with myself, like I talk a lot, and that's what I collect it.
yeah.
So yeah,
What's your holy grail? Now I have
that,
multiple.
that'd be you.
One thing that comes to mind is the Food Fighters line and the Food Fighters cover-ups, which Food Fighter, uh, Mattel and cover-ups did a thing in 1989 where they released 3 Food Fighters costumes, and they seem really cool to own. Just kind of an interesting, weird holy grail. They did a private pizza, Burger and Fat Frenchie, but pretty cool. I
Yeah.
probably have other holy, well, like a yak face, as far as vintage Star Wars, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, but cover-ups the Food Fighters cover-ups is an interesting one to throw in there.
Yeah. For me, I'd say the Shogun Godzilla is one of those things that um is just such an amazing figure, and you don't see it too often for a good price that you can afford, and also not missing things like the
Yeah,
fist shot out, yeah, like a really breakable tongue and tongue contraption action feature, whatever thing.
yeah.
Obviously, yak face. Another thing I was talking about it earlier today. Actually, is prototype figures and like molds for Star Wars and Motu and whatever.
Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, yeah. I actually have a couple other holy grails that have come to mind. Of course, there's the Wonder Bread He-Man that everybody wants very much. But also we were talking about Galaxy Warriors Mexican bootlegs a bit earlier, but that Mexican bootleg like red Baltard. I've never seen it selling, but that
Yeah.
is definitely one of my holy grails.
We should do an episode about those Mexican bootlegs because we've like made up some names for the different like versions and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'd also say, um, there's this really weird saw hack that I've seen on eBay that has like a flesh tone body and it's like kind of bigger and its like head is really scrunched down and like
What's it called? Like the Juby?
something weird. It's never seen it selling. I can't find it like really anywhere. I
Juba?
found other figures in the line selling online, but um, and I'd also say just like the Food Fighters variants because you have your mainline ones, and then there's like the like orange scoop. What's his name? Sergeant Scoop. The orange scoop, Sergeant Scoop. There's the pink frosting Major Munch. The like grape syrup short stack, and like the chocolate Trip the Ripper.
Well, Chip the Ripper's already chocolate, the like dark chocolate.
No, because he's not chocolate. He's chocolate chip, but he's a chocolate cookie.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's some LJNs. Don't really want to get into that, but Mr. Fuji would be cool. But those don't really. That's not really a holy grail. I think it's just a thing that I want.
Yeah. Um. It. Here's the final question. If you could revive any toy line, what would it be and why? I already know my answer to this, but it's your turn to go first.
I would say Food Fighters.
Yeah.
Because
Easily food fight.
it's just the kind of thing that would, I think, really benefit from our revival. But as you know, and some people probably know, I've said in my videos and stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of detail, really, or like good, like obviously detail, but like I'm fine with detail. It's not detail itself, but it's just like the way that newer figures are made. It's just not really my thing. But I feel like if they did Food Fighters right, it could be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If any toy line to be revived, any vintage toy line, it's easily food fighters for me. Um. I mean, Barnyard Commandos was another similar. I think that was 89. Was I think it was Hasbro's like kind of version of Food Fighters, very similar style and everything. And not only did Barnyard Commandos also get like a mini Burger King line in like 1990, but they also got revived. And so I feel like since Food Fighters are so much better than Barnyard Commandos, in my opinion as well, they gotta revive Food Fighters. Gotta
Yeah.
revive.
Another thing that I would probably say is the Matchbox Pee-wee's Playhouse line.
Yeah.
I just say that because there hasn't been that much or that many Pee-wee's Playhouse figure lines. There's been tons of plushes and stuff like that. Of Pee-wee's Playhouse, but not a lot of figure lines. Super Seven did the reaction Pee-wee's Playhouse, but other than that, I haven't seen too much. That's sort of like a revival, but not really like they're not the same. They're similar, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
Um, I would just say that line would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I have another line too, other than Food Fighters. This one isn't a vintage line, but the Palisades Muppets line, because Palisades has had big plans for Muppets and all that, and then they went bankrupt. But I mean, we see Diamond Select come in with some new Muppets figures, but I feel like they aren't as great. I mean, there are. Don't get me wrong; they're pretty great figures, but they just haven't been releasing them as much as Palisades was, and they're releasing different deluxe versions and different stuff like that. Just slight variations, or just literally just released in different packaging. And Super Seven also did Muppet stuff and Sesame Street stuff, but I want those like Palisades style stuff again. So Palisades ever came back and started eh, continuing the Muppets and Sesame Street. That'd be pretty great.
Yeah. And honorable mention. Um, it's actually already been done. The Galaxy Warriors has been brought back by Formo Toys, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and they're doing a remake of the Galaxy Warriors, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's so. Oh, yeah, that was a pretty nice. That was a pretty fun episode. Of the podcast. I want to do this more often, but it's hard to think of ideas for them.
Yeah.
Because but this was really fun to do. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think that pretty much covers it. The we talk words
Yeah.
good.
So yeah. If you enjoyed this, we have some other. We have Not that many, but we have some others. Episodes like this that are similar. Like we might have like 3 or something. That's not the biggest amount, but I would definitely want to keep doing these. And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Eden does as well.
we'll probably do more episodes in this style in the future.
Yeah. So, I'm Jaquil, and that is Amanaman, and this has been the We Talk Words Good podcast. I will see you, and so will Amanaman.
No, we can't see you right now.
Yes, we can.